Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy, Carl Jung's Black Books, Part 52, in which I will continue reading Carl Jung's Black Books, picking up right where we left off last time. And last time, we read his journal entry from January 17th, 1914. So whatever comes after that, perhaps January 18th, 1914? Perhaps not. Perhaps he skipped a day. He does that sometimes. Okay. Let's do the rune pull at the beginning of these. Oh, by the way, if you would like to start at the beginning, the reason there isn't much enthusiasm in my voice when I say that is the first episode is okay. It's interesting. Chicken Philosophy has evolved. It's been over a year since that first episode. The first episode was fine. It's episodes 2 through 25 that I personally am But, Anyway, if you want to start at the beginning and read through, the readings are in there, as well as commentary. There's always me rambling. So if what you are looking for is an audio book, I've told the story before, but Amazon tricked me into putting this on Audible. So people go on Audible because they're looking for books on tape or audio books. And so they go, oh, good, Carl Jung's Black Books is on Audible. And they get Chicken Philosophy, Carl Jung's Black Books. And so, of course, it has a 0-star rating and all kinds of bad reviews on there. But it's Chicken Philosophy is in a lot of places. It's on every podcasting platform, as well as YouTube, and it's even on the Internet Archive, up to a point. See, my internet's not so good here, and I have to have good internet to upload to the Internet Archive, because that's just how they are. I don't remember what I was talking about. I'm going to go ahead and pull a rune. And today's rune is the blank one. One of the runes is blank on purpose. For some reason, we're going to learn about that today. So we'll put this blank rune right there. Huh. All right. I wasn't expecting that. So let's find out from our trusty gray... Oh, yeah. The playlist is here. If you want to start at one of the earlier ones, that's the whole playlist. You can start with part 1, or you can sort of navigate and look through the playlist and see which thumbnail seems most interesting, or however you want to do it. The blank one is called Odin. Oh, wow. I actually have, by coincidence, I have this here. So maybe as a footnote or somewhere, we'll put that there. I don't know. I'll leave it to Editor Edward to work that out. So the blank one is Odin. That's interesting. I don't know why I never bothered to look at that and find that out in all these years. I've had this book for 31 years. And the unknowable, hence blank. Wow. Didn't realize Odin was like that. So it's not Anthony Hopkins. It's more like Jehovah. All right. The unknowable, the divine in all human transactions. Well, okay. So I am interested to find out if that is going to tie in any way with today's reading, the reading of the journal entry of Carl Jung that we're going to read today. And, today we're going to be smelling peace. What does peace smell like? I don't know. We'll have to ask our... Has anybody ever lived during times of peace? Yeah. The 1990s, there was, all kinds of like military operations, police actions, bombings of this place and that place, but they very cleverly didn't call it war. I mean, after the Iraq War, obviously. So unless you count those, not the 90s were pretty peaceful. I mean, again, except for the beginning. Okay, good enough. And cheers. Let's see what we've got today. Okay, it is the 18th. January the 18th, 1914. Here, all threads and everything called a line gets lost, ceases, as it is proper for a madhouse. Oh, right, he's still in the madhouse, remember? I like how these visions pick up where we left off before, which makes them not like dreams as much. So there is sort of an episodic thing, but also a serialized thing happening. He's got a nice balance, an intuitive balance between. Here, my soul, is space for you. Here may you speak. And then there's the line, meaning we're going under. Words, words. Do not make too many words. Be silent and listen. Did I ever tell you? I think I did. But I'll tell you again, just for the sake of the people who haven't listened to all 148, or however many, I don't know. The other day, I said it was episode 144. That's if you count that little introduction. It was actually 143 if you only count the actual proper episodes of half hour of me blathering into the screen. Pierre Debs. Anybody recognize that name? After he passed away, I started seeing him. Okay, so I was dreaming. I was having these sort of vivid dreams, but dreams that, I didn't know I was dreaming, and they were taking place in what appeared to be my conventional life, like my old house and stuff like that, my old neighborhood. And I walked in and I saw him sitting there, and he looked up at me and smiled, and I kind of realized it must be a dream. I was like, oh, I've foiled the mystery. And so that came out in the form of me pointing at him and saying, that guy's dead. And then I woke up. I felt like a fool. Because what if Pierre had come to visit me? You know what I mean? In his early time of being post-mortem. And so then a while later, I don't know how long later, because this was all at least 7 years ago at this point, so time gets kind of scrunched like an accordion. So anyway, a little while later, I saw him again, and I went up and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry that I blurted that out when I saw you last time. It was just kind of shocking, because I was like, oh my God, I'm dreaming. He's no longer with us in the material plane, and that's how it came out. And he was like, no, it's no problem, I understand. And I said, I'm moving to India. I met someone, and we're getting married. I'm going to live in India from now on. And he got kind of thoughtful, and he said, try not to talk too much. And that was his advice. It's that kind of had a weird effect on me, and I kind of came back to it. And it's sort of one of those things that it's probably resulted in me talking more. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, okay. I don't know where he was coming from in giving me that advice. And again, I don't know if he was a projection straight out of here, or if he was coming from the outside. So anyway, right. Words, words, words. Be silent and listen. Have you recognized your madness, and do you admit it? No. Maybe a little. Have you noticed that you harbor your madness? Yes, I don't know. I'm not sure what he means by the question, but probably. Have you noticed that all your foundations are completely mired in madness? Yes. Yeah, if you count my mother and my father as my foundations, then yes, everyone except for my maternal grandfather probably. He had a kind of madness though, but it was the good kind, I think. No, it's all right. I mean, it's not like madness is an undesirable thing. I think lack of madness would be something absolutely horrifying, right? I don't know. I'm just talking shit. Do you want to recognize your madness and welcome it in a friendly manner? Now we're getting kind of Jungian, Mr. Jung. You wanted to accept everything that you find in yourself, so accept madness too. While he's kind of hitting on the nose with the Jungian thing. I mean, he is Carl Jung after all. But this is the first time that I've seen him writing in his journal the stuff that he's kind of known for, like naming it. All right? Let the light of your madness shine, and it will suddenly dawn on you. Madness is not to be despised and not to be feared, but instead you should give it life. Well, in that case, this episode is brought to you by Fuck Jordan Peterson. If you'd like to learn more about Fuck Jordan Peterson, you can click right there. It's my madness. Embrace my shadow. Sorry. Where were we? Yes. Your words, O my soul, sound hard, and the task you set me is difficult. Oh, someone was talking. Oh, he missed a quote, and Sonu didn't fix it. Oh, there's an end quote, but not a beginning quote. Oh, I think let the light of your madness shine. Oh, no. Oh, that whole thing was in quotes. That was his soul. The lady, the daughter of the innkeeper, who later became someone else. She came around again, didn't she? In a different form. And I can't put my finger on it right now. But, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, his soul, his anima. Now that's Jungian anima, not Richard Wilhelmian anima. There's a big difference between the two. Unless there isn't. If there isn't, then what's good? Then I'm scared. But I think that there's a difference. Okay. Where were we? Yes. So that was all his soul talking to him. Okay. Your words, O my soul, sound hard, and the task you set me is difficult. Quote, now here's the soul again. If you want to find paths, you should also not spurn madness, since it makes up such a great part of your nature. End quote. I didn't know that this is true. Cross out true. So, S-O, not S-E-W. Quote, be glad that you can recognize it, for you will thus avoid becoming its victim. Madness is a special form of the intellect. That's the soul, Carl Jung's soul voice that I'm doing, if you were wondering. Madness is a special form of the intellect and clings to all philosophies, doctrinal systems, and theories, but even more to daily life, since life itself is full of craziness, as you call it. And at bottom, utterly illogical. Man strives toward reason only so that he can make rules for himself. Life itself has no rules. That is its mystery. What you call knowledge is your attempt to impose something comprehensible on life. End quote. That all sounds very desolate, but nevertheless it prompts me to disagree. Quote, you have nothing to disagree with. You are in the madhouse. End quote. Cheeky soul. That was my editorial commentary, not the text. That's Guru Nanak, by the way, if you were wondering. There stands the little fat professor. I'm not saying that. Carl Jung said that. I think that's an inappropriate way to talk about his professor, just for the record. Not very PC. Let's just say that much. Had he spoken this way, and had I taken him for my soul? Professor, quote, yes, my dear, you are totally confused. Your speech is completely incoherent. Bracket parentheses, end quote, and bracket parentheses. Thank you, Sonu, for catching that one. I too believe that I've completely lost myself. Am I really crazy? It's all terribly confusing and unclear. Professor, have patience. Everything will work out. Anyway, sleep well. Now that he's shifted the soul voice over to the professor, it's no longer, and it's become, I thank you, but I'm afraid. He goes off. I don't know if that was supposed to be on the same line as like, thank you, but I'm afraid. Thank you. What? There's no quotes. I thank you, but I'm afraid he goes off. It's all just 3 sentences. Okay. Everything inside me is in utter disarray. Matters are becoming serious. Chaos is approaching. Is this the ultimate bottom? I thought that death would be the ultimate bottom. Or is chaos also a foundation? Or is it a ladder? Sorry. Game of Thrones thing, if you didn't catch the reference. I know not everybody's seen Game of Thrones. If only there weren't these terrible waves. Everything breaks asunder like black, fuming billows. Yes, that is the ocean, the almighty, the nocturnal tide. A ship moves there, a large steamer. I'm just about to enter the smoking parlor. Many people in elegant dresses. They smoke, play cards. Speaking of 52, episode 52, play cards. They all look at me astonished. Someone comes up to me. Quote, what's the matter? You look just like a ghost. What happened? Bracket parentheses, end quote, and bracket parentheses. Thank you, Sonu. Nothing. But I believe that I have gone crazy. The floor sways. Quote, the sea is somewhat rough this evening, that's all. Have a cocktail. You suffer seasickness, end quote. You're right. I am seasick, but in a special way. I'm really in a madhouse. Quote, well now, you're joking again. Life is returning. End quote. Do you call that wit? Just now the professor pronounced me truly and utterly mad. Quote, there he sits playing whist. End quote. The fat little professor is actually sitting at a green-covered table playing cards with some gentlemen. He turns toward me and laughs, quote, "Well, where did you go to? Come here. Would you like a Manhattan, too? You're quite a character. You've put all the ladies in quite a flurry this evening." End quote. Professor, for me, this is no longer a joke. Just now, I was your patient. Unbridled laughter. Professor, I hope that I haven't upset you too much. Well, to be committed is no small matter. The person from before, a man with a black beard, a tousled head of hair, and dark shining eyes. Quote, "Something worse happened to me. It's 5 years now that I've been here." End quote. I realize that it is my neighbor, who has apparently awakened from his stupor and is now sitting on my bed. I am indeed in the madhouse. Quote, "But I am Nietzsche, only re-baptized. I am also Christ, the Savior, and appointed to save the world, but they won't let me." End quote. Who won't let you? Quote, there's no quote, but it should have one. R, which I assume means Nietzsche, rebaptized. Who won't let you? The devil. You see, we are here in hell. But of course, you haven't noticed it yet. I didn't realize until the second year of my time here. The director is the devil. That sounds incredible. R. You're an ignoramus. I was supposed to marry Maria, the mother of God, long ago, but the professor, i.e. the devil, has her in his power. Every evening when the sun goes down, that's S-U-N. Presumably it just means like, the sun goes down like sunset, not like anything weird, like someone's male child giving, cunnilingus. That's not what it meant. When the sun goes down, he gets her with child. In the morning before sunrise, she gives birth to it. This is like Revelation 12 and 13, right? Then all the devils come together and kill the child in a gruesome manner. I distinctly hear his cries. It's a little different. Must be from the Bible in Constantine, the one that has an extra chapter in Corinthians. You know what I'm saying? But what you have presented to me is pure mythology. R. You're crazy and understand nothing of it. You belong in the madhouse. My God, why does my family always shut me in with crazy people? Parentheses, crying. End parentheses. I'm the Redeemer. He lies down again and apparently sinks back into his stupor. I clutch the sides of my bed as if to protect... What? I clutch the sides of my bed as if to protect myself against the terrible waves. Sonu, what did you do there? Was that an accurate translation of a German typo? Or was it an English typo in the translation? I don't know. I stare. The reason being there's only one O in the two. I stare at the walls so that I can latch on to something with my eyes. A horizontal line runs along the wall, which is painted a darker color beneath. A radiator stands beneath, but I can't help. It is a railing, and I see the sea beyond it. The line is the horizon, and there the sun now rises in red glory, solitary and magnificent, exceedingly large. In it is a cross from which a serpent hangs. No, a bull, slit open. Oh, like the bull has been slit open. I was thinking that it's supposed to be assumed that the bull has a slit, that all bulls have slits, and in this case, its slit is open. No, the bull has been slit open. It's an unusual thing for a bull to be. Sorry. As at the slaughterhouse. Right, yeah, that just sort of confirms my suspicion, my conclusion. Or is it, Or is it an ass? The ultimate bottom? I think he means a donkey. No, a ram with a crown of thorns. It is the crucified one himself? You mean Nietzsche? I don't know, things are getting weird. Let's go. The sun, S-U-N, of martyrdom has arisen and is pouring bloody rays over the sea. Yeah. This sublimely gruesome spectacle lasts a long time, and the sun rises higher. Its rays grow brighter and hotter, and a white glowing sun burns down on a deep blue sea. The swell has subsided. A charitable and quiet summer dawn lies on the shimmering sea. The salty smell of water rises up. A faint, wide surf, S-U-R-F, get your mind out of the Middle Ages. A faint white surf breaks on the warm sand with a dull thunder and returns incessantly, 12 times, like the strokes of the world clock. And now silence enters. No noise, no breeze. Everything is rigid and deathly still. Like that. The sea has become a mirror to the white, shining sun. I wait, secretly anxious. I see a palm tree. An enormous tree arises from the sea. Its crown reaches to heaven, and its roots reach down into the interior of the earth. Millions of birds are flapping their wings in its branches. I am completely alone and disheartened, and gaze from afar. It is as if all life had flown from me and completely passed into the incomprehensible and fearful. I am utterly weak and incapable. Salvation, I whisper. This is kind of Odin-y, a little bit unknowable God and world tree imagery. Quote, there is no salvation here. You must remain calm, or you will disturb the others. It is night, and the other people want to sleep. End quote. I see. It's the attendant. The room is dimly lit by a weak lamp, and sadness weighs on the room. Quote, I couldn't find the way. End quote. I guess that's attendant. Quote, you don't need to find ways now. End quote. He speaks the truth. One does not need to find a way. The way, or whatever it might be, on which people go is our way, the right way. There are no paved ways into the future. We say that it is the way, and it is. We build roads by going on. Our life is the truth that we seek. My life is the path for those who come after me. Only my life is my truth, the truth above all. We create the truth by living it. Only in retrospect, life becomes truth. We do not find truth first and then we live it, but the other way around. Preach. Yeah, I believe there was, I don't know which episode it was exactly, but I was talking about how Carl Jung had forged some paths that then, okay, and I used an obscure example, so I'll explain it now. There's a book down here that I happen to have my eye on right now. The Island at the Center of the World. It's not to be confused with another book. Never mind. The Island at the Center of the World is a book about New Amsterdam, where my mother's father's father landed in the 1830s or something, back when it was still New Amsterdam, before it was New York. Indeed, before it was New York City. It was a Dutch settlement. The British took it and they renamed it New York because they didn't want to call it New Amsterdam if it was going to be part of the British Empire, right? Obviously. Anyway, so what we now call Manhattan, that island, was a forest. And on the southern end of the forest was the Dutch settlement. And on the, I believe, northeastern corner of the island were the Mohawk First Nations peoples, what used to be called Native Americans, and before that were called Injuns. And in between there, they were called American Indians. Not to be confused with Indians, as in people from India. And just as a fun side note, and since I have a captive audience and full context here, if I just post this on the internet, people will just block me. But since I was born in America and emigrated to India and married an Indian woman and settled in India permanently, if we're using like America's hyphenated rules, where you're like an Italian American or whatever, then that would make me an American Indian. Anyway, so the Dutch and the Mohawks, they got along in the beginning for the first decade or two. And they had like a currency of these little blue shells that were kind of hard-ish to find, and so that was like what they traded for other things, and they would trade things, and so they would walk from here to here, right? And as they walked, there was a path, obviously, that was formed, and then the path got a little wider, this little path through the forest. And then it got wider and wider. You might say broader, more broad. And it came to be known as the Broad Way. As in Broadway. Broadway in New York. So I was using that as an example to point out how Carl Jung went in with a machete and went into the jungle of the unconscious, if you will, the jungle of some territory that had not been yet tread or whatever, not by a psychologist in that way. Anyway, he opened up a path, And then others followed behind him, and others followed behind him. And then Joseph Campbell followed behind him, and then Robert McKee followed behind him, and then all of fucking media followed behind them, and now the way is very broad. But the man himself is pointing out that there is no the way. Robert McKee. Fuck Robert McKee. While we're fucking people. Not in a nice way. In a hostile way. Honestly, I was hoping that this was going to be Tiwas or Tues. The origin of Tues Day. It's always Tuesday somewhere. No, that's not true. But right now, by coincidence, I think it is actually Tuesday in Hawaii still. It's Wednesday evening in India. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I enjoyed today's episode. And sometimes these episodes are a little different from other. I'm not going to apologize for today's episode. I hope the music was good. We didn't hear from Editor Edward today, but he's there in spirit in the form of this having been put up there and the music. That's his way of communicating with us is through the music. That's how we know he's there. And he's watching over all of us. And anything else? I already mentioned last time. Well, I noticed people have most of the people who watch Chicken Philosophy have certain things they like and certain things they don't watch. So if I said something during Meccan Revelation, you didn't necessarily hear it because you're here watching the Carl Jung. So I'll say it again, just in case. Now I say just in case because YouTube might block it on copyright grounds, but if it doesn't, then by the time you're seeing me, my reaction to Taal, Taal, starring Miss World 1994, will be up. It's a 45-minute long video. It's a 3-hour movie condensed down to a 45-minute long reaction video. So you can join me, Edward, the one and only, not Gwydion, not BT, not Pymander, but Edward, me, in watching that movie. You can click there. That's where it is. I'm not going to put an end screen today, I don't think. Yeah. All right. That's it for today. And, go with Odin. Hey, Wednesday. Why didn't I? Odin's Day. That's today. Woden is the old English way of saying Odin. If you don't know, now you know. Wednesday, as it's spelled. Are we done here? Am I done? Am I? Is there? This is the point where I look around the room. Is there anything? No, that's it. That's it. We're done for now. And all right, I'm wishing you all the best. Until next time.